So I think there was a question and a response from the audience. We will come to you, and I understand that there's diversity of viewpoints being discussed, which is exciting. So let's have that debate. We definitely want to have that, maybe in the Q&A section. So with that, I'd like to come to you, Omar. You've been patiently waiting. So very impressive CV, I have to say. And of course, you're with Renata, a very impressive organization with presence in over 50 countries, I take it. So I have a bunch of questions for you, but maybe let's start with the first, which has to do with, we were just discussing before this panel about the prospects of the domestic market. Maybe we start with that and your views on where it's headed, and perhaps also a bit about the importance of R&D, research and development in this space. Over to you.
Sure. So first, I'd like to thank everyone so much for having me on this panel. My name is Syed Omar Kobir. I'm a clinical pharmacologist trained at Oxford, and I basically oversee Renata's pharmaceutical division. Now, just echoing slight divergence from Dr. Shamim's words, I think, yes, a lot of the areas that he said to invest in are very lucrative, but there's 1-year ROI and there's also 6-year ROIs. And I think in technology and other services, while I'm not a health expert, I'm a pharmaceutical person, I'm sure people can see returns in the long term. I think that should calm a bit of our audience down. Now to what I'm actually here to talk about, which is the domestic pharmaceutical industry. So for the domestic pharmaceutical industry, I think the proof is really in the pudding. You know, Bangladesh has, other than the global powerhouses of pharmaceuticals in Asia, being India, China, and South Korea, Bangladesh is actually one of the strongest pharmaceutical industries in the eastern part of the world. And this has been fueled not just based on a population effect. I know everyone loves to talk about the fact that, oh, there's 180 million people, that's why the market is so big. Well, there's a lot of people in Indonesia. There's also a lot of people in the Philippines and in Pakistan. Why is Bangladesh's pharmaceutical industry performing so well? Well, you can boil this down into 3 factors. First factor is geographical density. So the fact that Bangladesh does not have a lot of land, that in most cases is a significant disadvantage. But in the case of pharmaceuticals, it is a significant advantage. Why is that a significant advantage? Is because we are able to access multiple pharmacies, multiple hospitals within a short geographical area. What that means is that you have companies, pharmacies, doctors alike in certain zones of the country. And that allows you to be able to control the entire commercial value chain. And I'm going to stress on this point a little bit more. Bangladesh is not dependent on wholesalers or large distributors. And this is what creates anti-competitive, oligopolist, monopolist systems like much of what we see in the US, where we have 3 main buyers for pharmaceuticals across the entire industry. In Bangladesh, you don't have that. In Bangladesh, you have companies that distribute their products direct to pharmacy, that promote their medicine direct to doctors, and this has allowed for the country to be able to have incredible access to medicine available throughout the country, even at last mile delivery. You know, we often hear about how do you get medicines to the most rural part of Bangladesh. Guys, go to the rural part of Bangladesh. There's 10 bloody pharmacies there. There's more pharmacies there than probably on my street where there's 2. So that's one, geographical density. The second thing is competitiveness. So while we, like to traditionally, my father being a raging communist, would like to hate on capitalism, Bangladesh's success in pharmaceutical industry has really stemmed from extreme competition. I saw the likes of Mr. Halimuzzaman here. I see Simin Khala, Simin Madam here. I know all of us stay up till at least 1 a.m. at night waiting for our sales figures every night. And this competition has fueled innovation. It has fueled excellent operators. And what it's also done, which sometimes falls below the cracks, is the fact that it has created employment. And this is not low-skilled labor employment, but high-skilled, highly educated levels of employment amongst the youth. Before, if you were a biochemist in maybe 1996, 1995, thank God I wasn't studying biochemistry in 1996. I was being born in 1996, so that was a bit of a change. But if you were a biochemist or a biologist, you would go be a teacher. Now, that is a very, very noble profession, but sometimes people want to do other things. Today, if you're a biochemist, you could see yourself being a QA head, an R&D head of one of the largest companies, not just in Bangladesh, but in Asia. And this has happened due to competition. And the third point I would like to mention, before I just touch quickly on R&D, is operational efficiency. Bangladesh has, in terms of its pharmaceutical sector, incredible operational efficiency. In terms of market size, because the cost of our medicines are some of the cheapest in the world, it might not come up in dollar value. But if you look at, in terms of units, number of tablets, number of capsules, number of vials, Bangladesh is actually the 6th largest producer of medicine in the world today. And that has come from having incredible operational efficiency. We are lean and we are able to produce at high volumes. And I'll give you some examples of that. During COVID-19, all of the Western world was running around chasing, where will remdesivir come? Where will molnupiravir? Well, pharmaceutical company here called SKF was the first company to release remdesivir globally. And actually, there was countries around the world asking for remdesivir, being like, what do we do? The other thing, and this is something more recent, is last year, this country went through a political revolution, extreme volatility. Yet, despite having minimal, if not no price changes, the total market grew 12.32%. And during the August revolution, and basically, a semi-civil war, all pharmaceutical companies were active. And we were producing products 24/7, 3 shifts, 2 shifts. Myself, I was waking up or going to bed really at 7 in the morning because I was making sure our distribution gets done before all the fighting starts at 10 a.m. That's how efficient this sector has become. Now, these are all very positive things. And traditionally, the domestic pharmaceutical industry has been immune to macroeconomic crisis. But this, unfortunately, is no longer the case, because Bangladesh has had a currency devaluation of north of 60%. Based on that, our cost of goods, whether that's our excipients, our raw materials, our consumables, all of these costs have gone up massively. So while companies have grown in terms of their revenue, their bottom lines have been significantly squeezed. As an operator, that's a terrible picture. But as an investor, that's a dream. Because today, pharmaceutical companies that used to trade at $1.6 billion in value with revenues of 500 million, that's roughly a 3x multiple on revenue, now they're trading at 1x revenue of their market cap. And this is not just public companies, this is public and private companies. So today, investors not only look at a sector that is poised to take on the global market, but a sector that as soon as pricing is accommodated to reflect the new costs, this sector will experience large gains in their bottom line because their revenues have grown, but their profits have not. As soon as this mismatch is mitigated, you will see gross profits and net margins go back to the 17 to 21% multiple that we used to see. Should I touch on the R&D part now?
Or we can just come back.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Omar.
Thank you.